Good morning class 1 and welcome to Monday's English lesson. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. Pedro just wanted to say a big thank you to all of the children that read stories for him. We really enjoyed listening to those over the weekend and he was really with all of your reading, so well done. This week in English we are going to be learning about how to write instructions and we're going to be using these instructions to help Pedro. Pedro, as you know, has travelled all the way from Antarctica and life is very different there to what life is like here. Now Pedro wants to learn how to do and make lots of different things during his time here, so we're going to be helping him by writing some instructions. Now, one of the first things that Pedro wanted to be able to do was to build a snowman. Now this is obviously dependent on us having some snow, but it has been very cold and icy recently, so fingers crossed. I have written a set of example instructions to help Pedro understand the key features of what we need in instructional writing, and I need your help to help identify those key features. So let's have a look on the board together. Now the first thing we need when writing a set of instructions is a title. This is to tell the reader why they are following the instructions, so what they are trying to do. Now, my title is How to Build a Snowman because that is what Pedro wants to learn how to do. So I'm going to identify the first feature by putting a circle around it. The title is How to Build a Snowman. That tells Pedro what he's learning to do. The second feature of instructional writing is writing a list of things that you're going to need to be able to complete the instructions. Now, on the board to build a snowman, I have written a list of instructions. It says you will need snow, a hat, a scarf, 2 sticks, some stones and a carrot. So there is a list of instructions of everything Pedro needs to be able to build a snowman. So I'm going to identify that feature in a different colour. So I've identified the list of things that Pedro will need to build a snowman. The next feature that I'm looking for in instructional writing is a number, a sequence, to be able to tell me the order in which I need to follow these instructions. So when I wrote these instructions for Pedro, I made sure that I numbered each instruction in order so that he knew what order he needed to follow the steps in. So you can see here by me identifying them that this is instruction number 1, here is instruction number 2, instruction number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6 and number 7. And if Pedro follows these steps in order, he will hopefully be able to build a snowman. The last feature of instructional writing that I'm looking to identify are bossy verbs. These are also known as imperative words. Can you have a go at saying that word? Imperative. Imperative. It's a very tricky one, but it just means bossy. Now, bossy verbs are doing words and they tell us what we should be doing. And when we're giving instructions, we need to make sure that we are being a little bit bossy. So, a bossy verb might be something like get a pencil. The bossy verb is get. It's telling the person what they need to do. If I was cold, I might say put a coat on. Put is the bossy verb. So let's see if we can identify any of the bossy verbs in my instructions for Pedro on how to build a snowman. Roll a ball of snow to make the body. That was instruction number 1. The bossy verb is roll. It's telling Pedro what he needs to do and it's also being a little bit bossy. Let's look at instruction number 2. Roll a ball of snow to make the head. Again, the bossy verb is roll. It's telling Pedro what he needs to do with the snow in a bossy way. Let's look at the next instruction. Put the head on top of the body. Put is the bossy verb in this sentence. Instruction number 4. Push the stones into the head to make the eyes. The bossy verb in this sentence is push. Again, telling Pedro what he needs to do. Instruction number 5. Now use a carrot to give him a nose. Now being the bossy verb. You might say to somebody, please do that now. Now is the bossy verb in that sentence. Instruction number 6. Add 2 sticks for arms. Add is the bossy verb. It's telling Pedro what he needs to do. And finally, instruction number 7, put a hat and scarf on the snowman. Put is our bossy verb. It's telling Pedro that he needs to put a hat and a scarf on top of the snowman to make him complete. If you notice, when we look at our instructions, we can see that our bossy verbs, our imperative verbs, normally come at the beginning of our instruction because they are telling the reader what they need to do and how they need to do it. It's bossy. So imagine you've got your hands on your hips and you're in a bossy voice when you are writing your instructions and including those bossy verbs. Now, when we woke up this morning, even though it was really icy and cold, there was not any snow. So unfortunately, Pedro couldn't follow the instructions today to be able to build a snowman. So I asked him what he would like to do instead. Now, he has been listening and watching our phonics lessons, and he's taken a real interest in the aliens that we learn with in phonics. And he asked if he could try and catch an alien. So I explained to Pedro before he could do this, he needed to research about aliens and try and write a set of instructions on how to catch an alien. Now, Pedro has worked really hard over the weekend and has written his own set of instructions on how to catch an alien. Now, before he can follow these instructions, he needs the children in class 1 to be able to check he's included all the features of instructional writing. So, in today's lesson, I have sent you a copy of Pedro's instructions. He's written a set of instructions that tell you how to catch an alien. I need you to identify if Pedro has used a title to tell the reader what they are learning by following the instructions. I also need you to identify if he's included a list of things that he needs to help him catch an alien. I also need you to identify if and when he has used bossy verbs, imperative words. Remember, those are the verbs that are telling us what we need to be doing. And the last thing I need you to identify is if Pedro has used a set of numbers and put his instructions in order so that they are easy to follow. If Pedro has done all of those things and you've checked his work and you can see that he's included all of them, then this afternoon Pedro and I are going to have a go at seeing if we can catch an alien. Thank you so much for your help, Class 1. Pedro and I are really looking forward to seeing your work. Bye.